All right, we live, Moorish Ken, and the Moorish horse should be coming in a few seconds when they begin to see this demonstration. We got a broad audience come through on Facebook, and we just started getting on here doing this. But we want to rise and give praises to the great God Allah and honors to His holy prophet. Honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, El Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali, that is. We give honors to our Moorish kin once again here, there, and everywhere, and therefore honors to all of you who are continuously honoring yourselves by being yourselves. We give honors to our Grand National Seal, Grand National Emblem, National Flag, Divine Constitution and bylaws, and honors to all of you who are living manifestation and
Got the light
personification
in?
of everything that our holy prophet brought to
Oh,
make us
okay.
uh, Moorish kin, the world, the Americas, all of our people here, there, and everywhere. We have a grand historical masterpiece on the manifest right now. Our very own Grand National Chairman, Dr. Akhenaten Pert M. Heru, Tutankhamun Bay, and he will be demonstrating the illustrious history for Moorish America. So while he's coming forth to give honors and praises, we will be creating these links to get them out there to our family so that they can watch this broadcast. It's going to be a grand broadcast. And also our National Grand Sheikh is here as well, Dr. Serapis Amen. Islam. And if you will, Sheikh, we gonna mute out, me and you, and we're gonna let the chairman have it. And then when it's time for us to come back, we're gonna
Who
come
you want
back.
me to talk to? Okay.
Islam. Okay. Yes, sir. Islam chairman, you got it. Me and the Sheikh finna mute out. And you just give your praises. I see Brother Torrey Simpson Bay done showed up. So Brother Torrey Simpson Bay share this as well. Islam. And I'm muting out now, chairman. I'm getting to work to share this link.
All right.
Make sure you mute your mic too, Sheik.
Oh, yeah, there's Simpson Bay. Islam. So can you hear me? Okay.
Islam, we hear you
Well, let
loud
me
and
first off, always give praise to Allah and honor the Prophet Noble Dwali, the last prophet of these days and time, the last adept that came with all hundreds and hundreds of prophets before him, but he came born in the state of North Carolina. Mm. And at the age of 16, found himself where all the prophets must go to get their prophetdom. And that was in Kemet. Whew. He went there at the age of 16, came back, and he says, I brought you everything it takes to save you as a nation. But you've got to take it, Moorish American, because what's his nationality? Moorish American. What's your nationality? Moorish American. So that's what it did. He brought you back your nationality and your divine creed. And it was so intensive that those who he brought it back to around 1912, 1913, they still had all them years, they still did not have a clue what he was talking about because they were so caught up into the Western concept. They thought they were Christians, they thought they were Masons, they thought they was all kind of all kind of things. But the truth of the matter is, they spent nearly 500 years, 400 years as slaves, thinking that they was actually Negroes, black people, colored folks, mm, Afro Americans, and all kinds of things. In fact, they got a thing going on now called uh, BLM, like Black Lives Matter. But Dover Ali gave us a definition for the term black. And he said, let you know that black, according to science, means death. So you don't want no one to call you a black person, a blackamoor, and all this other kind of thing. So, and they was even going behind the Kemet being moved over to West Africa, even under the Moroccan embassy, and it was known then as the Kemet of the West. But even at that, under the Moorish concept, nah. Morocco later became, as earlier, the head of the West African slave trade. And all you got to do is look at the Moroccan flag and ask yourself the question, what did Noble Dwali say in his questionnaire? What kind of flag is the Moorish? What's his nationality? And he said, Moorish America. What's your nationality? Moorish America. So he brought you, he asked you what kind of flag was the Moorish, not what kind of flag was the Moroccan. So with this in mind, we have to give much honor to um, the history that the prophet brought to us because, as he stated, we are today who our forefathers were yesterday. Black people don't have no descendant line. They don't have no forefathers because it was all made right here in the United States under less than, what, 3/5 of a person under the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment. They're less than, they were detached. It's called denaturalization. That's the master word. They were denaturalized away from the human family of nations, so they could no longer be identified as attachment to the human family as a nation of people. So that's where according to our divine Constitution, Act 6, you find that Noah Dwali said that the slave holders, which is also European Western Freemason, those that's empowered to call their slaves Negro, black, and colored, Ethiopian, what have you. These are those who, um, well, they just call it property. When you own something, you call it whatever you want to. If you own a dog, you can call it Butch, Spot, or Fido. It don't make no difference. It's your dog. So if you own a slave, you can call it Negro, black, colored, Afro. It don't matter. They're still slave. And that's what the slave holders. So you have to look at who was in power to name their property, their slaves, Negro, black, colored, Afro, American, and things. Who had that kind of power? So it's not really hard to find. So what happened with me, I was fortunate enough when I came through the Nation of Islam. Thought I was the Black Panther there for a minute, and a few other little black things that come through. And next thing I know, I was on Baltimore Street with the Prince of Peace, and he had also been taught by others who had been taught by the Prophet himself, and he also instructed me. That's where, in fact, when I left there under his administration, where I got the title Swift Angel from, because I was the first one to carry on the mission of the prophet, as was given to us by the prophet himself. German Bay made sure that I had all the proper teachings, the correct teaching that the prophet had brought himself. And even to this day, Baltimore has got so many different ideas and opinions, but I have to give much honor to um, Malik and his wife Sharon and L. Bays over there in Maryland, and Ashley Bay and a few others that's been holding up the consulate, because when you have the government, the Moorish American government, then you have consulates and embassies. As far as the organization is concerned, Moorish Science Temple, it don't work like that, because we're not, we're our own government. In fact, we got our own divine constitution that was brought by the Prophet Noble Dwali himself. And under our divine constitution, we have officials. We got our grand sheiks, chairman. We got a grand body of divine ministers and other officials of the Moorish American government, the only government in which you can live. In fact, the prophet said you proclaim your nationality before the government in which you live. You can't do that with an organization. In Act 5 of that same constitution, our divine constitution says no organization of Moorish America to cause any confusion or to overthrow the law and the constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. So he's making a distinction between a government, okay, and an organization, okay. Now, which one? One government can own millions of organizations, but not one organization can own a government. And that's where we're here today. And it's always an honor and a blessing to be able to extend much honor to Noble Dwali for the master work he did, because he fulfilled his job as a prophet. When you look at what is the duty of a prophet, say to save nations. He did that. But he also let us know that we had to save ourselves. We had to take what he brought us. And he said, I brought you everything it takes to save a nation, but you got to take it and save yourself. So we got the Moorish American flag that you see behind me. Okay. All right. We got our own everything. We got our own we got our own holy day. Friday, holy day for Muslims all over the world. We got our own uh, the Grand National Seal, Grand National Emblem. We got our own Holy Quran, everything. Okay, we even can have our own marriage laws like any other government. Okay, we can now call ourselves men and women. We can now become husbands. Okay, fathers of our own children, and husbands of our own family, heads of our own household, and it's right there in our own divine constitution. Okay, we now can become. We're such a man, which is in Act 6, that in Act 7, we now can that man can be now become a husband. He now can become a father. He can now have sons and daughters. Okay, slaves can't have children. They can have products, but they belong to whoever owns them in the first place. If you don't believe me, check out the movie Harriet Tubman. You'll see. She said she saved 300 slaves, and she could have saved 300 more, but they didn't know they were slaves. How many of our people realize that they're slaves to this very day? So it's an honor and blessing. And we right here, man. I'm ready to roll them. You know, I ain't but 5'6" no way, so I can roll on my pants leg. I'm kick. I'm ready. I don't know nothing but the truth. So if you can handle it, don't ask a question you ain't ready for the truth. Because I'll tell you, I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to help you. That's my job. So I'm here, Mo. Whatever you want me to do, I'm here for you. It's long.
Islam, can you hear me, Chairman?
Oh yeah, man.
Okay, Islamism, gratitude, grand man, for that grand introduction and giving our family. I see we got 11 viewers up there, and that's in the YouTube world. I don't know exactly who they are, but they watching, and that's a good thing. And we actually putting the links out there. The Moore's been sharing the links, and I think our brother Maat Shubey has started a watch party, so it will go viral, so to speak, in a few minutes, hopefully. But nevertheless, it's a grand drawing, Chairman, and what we want to go into is just point by point, just details, of some of the things you went through in the history, what you contributed to the movement. Because I know, I give honors to you, Chairman. You're a very humble brother. A lot of them don't even know if it wasn't for you, it wouldn't be a colored picture of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And
Oh,
just all these great works. A lot of them like to try to go up and sit with the mayor. They don't know we got reflections of you doing that way during the time when a lot of them had Similac around their mouth. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
So give them more some of the grand drawings of some of those great teachers that taught. Because some of them think we just come on to manifest Islam.
Well, like I said, I was honored to have, like I said, I come under Dr. R.J. Bay, the Prince, and even during that time, there was you had the Dingalils and others in Baltimore that was wrestling and talk about what was what and who was who, and they was having reincarnation of the prophet and the reincarnation of the Moorish Science Temple, and it was terrible. I mean, you had um, so many different lawfully chartered organizations, but every last one of them, they thought they were Masons. And this was the terrible aspect about it. And this is what the greatest lesson I ever learned from the Prince, directly from him, that you cannot be free and a slave at the same time. And I got this lesson from him. And so when I first came, I got to teach. I was locked up in the federal penitentiary up in Lewisburg, Pennsylvania. And so when I came home, I didn't go to the physical home. I went straight to the Moorish Science Temple. Because far as I was concerned, that was my life. All right. And so when I got there, the prince he made a little little doorway for me, and I was able to make it from there. And actually later, end up, and because there was, we had about, well, it started off about five wives, but only three of them worked out. So end up with two. And so y'all know who those guys are to this very day. They've been the whole time, 47, 50 some years, they've been right here with me, So, but the thing about it is that the teachings of the prophet um, it was so enlightening that it, even before I wrote the book, Noble Dwali, the Exhuman of a Nation, dedicated to him and his life works teachings. Even before then, I was doing lessons almost on I can't say a daily basis, two or three times a day. Okay, and because I was going to different prison systems, federal, state, local, even in the state of Maryland. Um, just covered everything. Um, Although I was originally, the prophet found me, I was in a federal penitentiary in Lewisburg, as I stated earlier. But by the time I met people like Anwar and a few other, it was down in Baltimore, Maryland State Penitentiary somewhere. They were locked up too. I'm going to the institution, uh, teaching them the truth. Okay, and the one thing about it, we later, before I left Baltimore, this is where I put um, the colors into the prophet's picture, and to this very day, a lot of people, even though that they can't stand Pleasant Bay, but look, they got that colored picture of the prophet. They don't know that I'm the one that did it, and I was so honored and blessed that I got the teachers from the colors from German Bay. You see, and this was even when I first got there. Timothy and Dingalil, they was there because I got there around January, and they left a couple months later. Moved up on Bella Avenue and this kind of thing. And it was so tragic that they didn't want to hear anything because they call themselves being reincarnated of the prophet. In other words, you still a member, but you had to be a Mason and somewhat of a, well, just to put it like that, a Christian. Okay, and the reason why I had to say it because uh, Muslims don't do the things that they was doing. Okay, and it's not so much as the food they eat because they was eating anything that whatever. Okay, and it made it down with a different. Uh, it was the clothes that they was wearing, and you couldn't tell that they were Moorish American Muslims, other than seeing them in the temple, like maybe doing Friday Holy Day or Sunday or something like that, or whatever day that something was going on. In fact, it was during that time we did such a rebellious thing. Um, we were the first one to have a parade that we marched our Moors, which we call the Moorish American Drill Team, and we had our drill team in Washington D.C. in front of the White House. That's the first time that anyone had ever marched in front of the White House. That's before they got that fence up there now, you know. But in so doing, we was sharing the honors and the blessings because um, they did not want, for example, like we had a sisters drill team, for example, give you an idea how measure we was doing, and all sisters drill team that was unheard of. Why? Because they did not want the women who call themselves Moorish America to have the wisdom that the men had. This was oh no, this was an outlaw. Oh no, because they had a secret society. Because like I said, it was under so much Western Freemasonry that the sisters had to be under somewhat of a sorority to the side, you know, and that way they could have a little something, something, but you couldn't have what the brothers have over here because the brothers they are adepts, they are sheiks, and sisters can't be all that. So, but this is what they did that we had to go through, and they went for it in Baltimore too. And I said, no, that's not it. The prophet brought this to save his people as a nation. Said, what's your nationality? And they was under the impression, like it is today, and just for all any more science, so you can go there and proclaim your nationality please. That's not what the prophet said. He said you must proclaim your nationality before the government. That's where you're gonna live at, before your own government. Okay, so in so doing, we was under the illusion that the Moorish Temple had that kind of authority and power because they thought they were still Masons, and to them, they didn't realize they were still slaves. They were still slaves. They called themselves Moorish Americans this, Moorish American that, but they were still slaves. Why? Because they didn't have their own government. They didn't have no nation. They didn't have their own flag. You can't go in the temple right now. You can't find it. You can't find a Moroccan flag because they still hold Morocco as their capital, as their head. And Morocco was, like I said earlier, was the head of the West African slave trade. They was the one that helped bury you here. Why do you think Morocco got so much money that they could share with the Pope? Was sharing part of the dollars and cents, that they was getting for selling us, catching and selling us by the tribe, by the nation, by the northwest and southwestern shores of Africa. Yeah. But now you want to talk about they New Warriors, they Washington, they all this other foolishness, lies. How you gonna be something else other than the descendant line of your forefathers? And this is what Noble Dwali brought to you. So, like I said, I'm here. Just don't ask me no question. You ain't ready for the answer. All I can say, but I'm ready. Islam. Anything else you want me to cover? Just let me know.
Islamism, yes, sir, Chairman. We definitely gonna bring it. And the Moors coming in. We got 19 Moors in here now. They must be really sharing that link because this coming up quicker than the Zoom meet we have. So honors and honors to the Moors that's tuning in. Honors to our brothers. Let's give them a roll call briefly. The different people here. Some of them not part of the movement per se, but they still Moorish Americans, even though they may not know it. So we give honors to Brother Simpson Bey, Amsu Ma'at Bey, Brother Earth that's here, Islamism without the schism indeed. Brother Charles G. Coleman Bey, honors to you. Brother Moore Malik, I think that's a NOI brother, Islam brother. More to Learn TV, honors to you. Miles Bay, Islam, Hawk L. Gratitude, brothers, for showing up. Because we just getting started, man. Y'all hear the chairman giving this history. He told you what a colored picture come from. He let you know that the prince was the one gave him the color scheme because he was there with the prophet. He know the exact colors it was. So that wasn't something that they just made up. Like some of the Moors take pictures and then put color. The chairman had the exact colors that the prophet, demonstrated. Islam. Okay, and we will address that in a minute. Our brother say address the Washington measure, Chairman. What have you to say about that, Chairman? We got a brother asking you to address the Washington situation.
What about Washington?
What about Washington, brother? What is it that you want him to speak on?
So
And the
Washington,
chairman,
the Warriors, what?
yeah, he knows the Empress Tamai.
Me too.
Yes, sir. That's what I was telling him. You know that, sister.
Oh yeah, personally.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Even
sir.
before they broke a leg and everything.
Uh-oh. Islam. Well, all right. Well, what we gonna do while the more is still coming in, I want to show you something. Well, oh, this brother say why are they acting like it's ancient? Why are they acting like Washington is ancient, Chairman? That's their question.
Because they know how to act. They're
Islam.
acting. They're not being.
Uh-oh.
There's a whole world of difference between acting and being. The prophet taught us how to climb what is called a three-step ladder: belief, faith, and then fruition. Belief is what you think perhaps it may be true. Faith is what you know is the truth. Fruition is when you be yourself the truth. I'm a Moorish American. Washita, who that? Nuwabian, who that? I said it. When they get there? Oh, they was already here when we brought George Washington. Is what you're saying? Uh-huh. Well, who you? How did? Excuse me, but ain't we the one that brought the Canaanites here? What you call the so-called Indians? Did we bring them here to start with? Where they was Apache, Comanche? It don't make a dime where we the one that brought them all. Excuse me.
Islam Grand National Chairman honors for that measure. And I got a measure here. I'm gonna share this right here, Chairman, because this is definitely one we've been trying to address for the longest. But seemed like when we was trying to address it, ones I don't know if they was busy or they dodged me with the platforms. But better yet, we got out now, so we gonna address this measure. And I'm gonna let you see. I'm gonna share my screen and just let me know when the screen is sharing, so that ones can give a response to this measure here. You see that sharing there, Chairman?
Yeah.
Okay, I know it looked kind of crazy. And this was actually a video made in regards to dealing with us, me, you, and everybody in the government. But I want you to hear this because this brother say he from Baltimore. We let him speak from our platform before. And I want you to basically address this measure.
Now, this guy follows.
Oh, they throw the little commercial up there.
Say? I guess it's not that hard to run an online business.
Okay.
No, before that.
A Moorish Science Temple of America. That's not a Moorish Science Temple of America. You have people that have created their own rendition of Prophet Noble Drew Ali's teachings. As you can see, soon as you see affairs, people would assume that they are part of the Moorish Science Temple of America. But in fact, these people be just making up stuff as they go along, and they be duping people along the way. Not necessarily him. He just fell for the okie doke. You know what I mean? He just fall for the okie doke. And he just go along with the program. But now his leader is the charlatan. His leader is the real charlatan. Let me tell you about this. Now, this is not about his leader, but this is his leader. See this? This is his leader. His leader is called I think he's the chairman of the Moorish American government. You follow me? Now, his leader, from a young age, back in the 90s, he was a part of a Moorish Science Temple of America Incorporated, the same one that I just showed you the charter from the other guy. He was a part of this organization, but being a part of the organization, it's a prison right out of Virginia called Lawton Penitentiary. And in the 90s, they used the Religious Freedom Act to make sure that they could be alone with inmates under the guise of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Now, in the prison, what they would do is they will go into a private area of the prison, and while in the private area of the prison, they would have the sisters who came in dressing up as ministers of the Moorish Science Temple of America. They would have them sisters to perform sexual acts on the inmates, and they would get paid by the way of outside finances. So this was in the 90s. This is true story. I'm not making this up. This is true story. And what he would do is, not only would he have the sisters prostituting in the prison, but he will also have the sisters to put cocaine, weed, heroin, all up in their garbs. You know, the big Muslim, you know how Muslims wear the big clothes. He will have them putting drugs all up in their garbs, and they would bring it into the prison system. Now, he ultimately ultimately got caught. But I'm going to tell the story here another day. But because he was exiled from the Moorish Science Temple of America Incorporated, he created what we know today as the Moorish American government, because he felt as though he couldn't go back to the Moorish Science Temple of America Incorporated. So what he did was he created this here called the Moorish American government in order to perpetuate his same thing. You follow me? And since 2010, he has been pushing this idea, usurping Prophet Noble Drew Ali's teachings for the sake of saying that we need a government and we are a government. Now, that's another story we'll get into another time. But now, the brother right here, Commission Adapt, he has fell for it hook, line, and sinker. And so, because he fell for it hook, line, and sinker, I actually one day pulled him up, not him, his leader, and asked him, why is it that he changed, why did he change the Moorish American flag? And I think he took offense to that. And from that day forward, his little henchmen tried to intellectually challenge me all on social media and all that type of thing. And that was a few years ago. So the reason why this brother is a runner-up for, not because of his leader, because his leader is who he is, but he's a runner-up because he follows the blind. It's the blind leading the blind. Now listen to this. This leader here says that, I want y'all to hear me good now. This leader here, the one on the left-hand side, he says that he got the authority to do what he do in creating a government because he had a dream. And in this dream, Prophet Noble Drew Ali came to him in a dream and told him to change the flag. Prophet Noble Drew Ali came to him in a dream and told him to change the Moorish American flag into what he created, and I'll show it to you in a second. There we go, right here. So Prophet Noble Drew Ali told him to, in a dream now, don't forget that part, in a dream, told him to change the Moorish American flag to this, the flag that he's standing under right there, from the original flag. And if you're not familiar with it, it's just a red flag with a 5-pointed green star in the center that people tend to mistake for Morocco. You see what I'm saying? So this is what he did. So no harm, no foul to him. You know what I'm saying? But to Commission Adapt, who jumped out the window and started saying things that he believe him regardless. He doesn't care, you know, because he talks to the prophet on the astral plane, and you don't have to believe in the astral plane. I believe in the astral plane and all that old crazy stuff. And that's what he said. And so, again, let me show y'all the Moorish flag. This is the Moorish flag right here. You know what I'm saying? This is it right here. This is the Moorish flag. And this is the flag that Prophet Noble Drew Ali flew. But anyway, this guy say he don't care what nobody say. He gonna follow this man to the end. Right, wrong, or indifferent. That's what he said. And so I recently had a debate with him.
Okay, Islam chairman, I just wanted you to see this because this is the type of thing we've been dealing with these Moors. But that's the same brother that spoke from our rostrum in Baltimore. And a day after that, he ended up going in opposition. Let me stop sharing this to everything that was put out here. Now, the measure is he claimed to be from Baltimore, but I know he's younger than me. You know, I'm talking about as far as dealing with knowledge wise, but also he around my age. So I know he wasn't on the manifest. He was still in a diaper somewhere, so to speak. And so my thing is, I would like you to respond and give the community. Wow, we got a lot of people viewing this now. 32. I didn't even know that, but I want you to address, that situation more, because you were there, and I know you were set up. Moors have told me this. That's neither here nor there. But we want to clear this measure up once and for all right now. And you give it to him and tell us, do you know this guy that was speaking? Does it mean anything? Have you ever heard of him? Islam. Let me stop sharing my screen right here so you can get in here. Okay, there we go. Islam, Chairman. There you go.
All right.
Islam.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Oh, okay. Well, for one thing, yeah, I've I've seen him before, but uh, well, as he stated, he don't have a clue what he's talking about. Um, the last time I was locked up, it was because Robert Lovell, who thought he was a Mason, had me falsely accused of selling drugs and things. I I've always been a bottle baby. I went from a titty to a bottle. If you understand what I'm saying, okay. If I couldn't drink it, I didn't want it. It was just that simple. I couldn't do nothing on what they call the dry highs, no kind of stuff. Whether you smoke it, it didn't matter. It just was never me. Never ever. Now, when it come down to Robert Lover had me set up on a drug situation. It don't even make no sense be having women going into a prison system doing some wrong stuff. Don't even make no sense. How you gonna do that and be a Muslim at the same? Anyway, he don't have a clue what he's talking about. This was Robert Lovell's doing. He was the one that had me set up on a false drug accusation. But bear with me now, because this is the prophet says for a reason. This is a divine as well as a national movement. Remember that. Okay. Now hold that thought. Okay. Divine and national movement. Like I said, Robert Lovell, who thought he was more Mason than anything else, he was the one that purposely had me set up on the false accusation of selling drugs and had me locked up. Had me locked. They could, to this day, they couldn't find the drugs that they was talking about. They couldn't find the accusation. It was all him, because by him being the head of the Masonic order, as far as the course was concerned, then there wasn't a judge nowhere that was going to tell him nothing. You want me to get rid of that boy for you? We can lock him up. But see, you've got to take into consideration the Prophet Noble Dwali, that this is a divine and national movement. So what Robert Lovell was doing, what he didn't know he was doing, he was locking me up so I could write the book, Noble Dwali, The Exhuming of a Nation, so that the whole world could now learn what the great God has presented here in the West through the Prophet Noble Dwali. That's what I've had several people. In fact, just recently today, someone called me, told me he read my book. I wrote the book. You'll never hear me say I read the whole thing. I'm still learning from the book, and I'm the one who wrote it. Why? Because it's the divine. Okay, it's got divinity. Every page, you can't go to a page in that book nowhere that you can't find divinity in it. Why? Because they come through me. Not by I'm still studying the book, and I'm the one who wrote it. In fact, I had a follow-up book behind it called the Book of Ali. Still, again, dedicated to Noble Ali. He's sitting on a camel on the cover of that particular book. Okay. The thing about it is that I had to let the Moors know that what would the prophet come and bring you, give you the call the Moroccan flag, the Moorish flag. Why would they do that? And Morocco was the head of the West African slave trade. Morocco was, I mean, I tell you what, All you gotta do, find that flag right there. Where's that flag right now to this very day? Because we did with the United Nations now. Okay? Where's it at now? At the UN, doing what? Do you think they want to proclaim anything? No. They have never accepted, Morocco has never accepted nothing when it comes to us for the northwest and southwestern shores of Africa. Okay? And any idiot that ain't got no better sense than to hold that flag up and talk about it's ours and then want to try to blame that on the prophet, what all you gotta do is go to when the prophet went to the Pan American Conference in Havana, Cuba, and you see them there sitting with both the flag, the United States flag and the Moroccan flag, okay? And both of them is upside down and backward. He got his left leg over the right. No, okay? Every time you see the picture of the prophet with them flags, one is they're in adversity. One flag, the Moroccan flag is the stars upside down, okay? The United States flag is backwards to let you know, you're not. This is not Moorish American here. Moroccan American, no such thing. Okay, that's why the prophet got the flags like that. That's why I was able to put through German. I was able to put the pictures of the prophets, his entire garb that he has on, that he acquired as an adept. You never seen a Moorish American dressed like that. Hardly before or much later since. Okay, so when it comes down to the headdress, as far as the feds is concerned, they don't have a clue that was our national headdress anyway. Okay, the prophet didn't steal that; he brought it to you. But the thing about it is, it's not so much of what's on your head; it's what's in it. If you don't know who a Moorish American is, then I don't care what you put on your head. It could be a cap, it could be an apron for that matter. You're still going to be lost in the wind. But I was honored and blessed by the guidance of Allah. Laville didn't have a clue that what he was doing was fulfilling the works of Allah. That's how I was able to write that book. Okay? Had I not been, I ain't nowhere in the world I could have wrote that book and stayed on the street. Impossible. In fact, to tell you the truth, and you can ask the guys about it when you get time, but I couldn't even come out the penitentiary until I finished the book. I'm talking about per day, the very last day, I used to write chapters and send it home, and the sister was going like, "Where we gonna live? Oh my goodness, oh, they were panicking." But you had to type it up, put it together, and that's what we did. We had the book called Exhumant, Noble to Ali, The Exhumant of a Nation. 700 pages. That's a big, 8.5 by 11. The book weighed 3 pounds. That's a lot of work. You name me somebody else wrote a book like that. Okay? I don't care who it is. And I'm not taking credit for it. I'm letting you know where the honor is due. Like I said, I'm ready for any questions. You want to know now anything else about New Orleans and Washington now?
Islam. And gratitude, Chairman, for that grand drawing. And since you there, can you address, the naysayers about a so-called getting kicked out? Because your dues was paid. You left as a free Moorish American Muslim. Tell these people you ain't got kicked out. How can a Negro kick a free man out of anything? Can you get them a drawing on that, Chairman?
You said being.
Yeah. Said, yeah. Can you tell them that ain't nobody kick you out of nothing?
Oh, no. They won't like that.
Get them some history on that. Please.
No, when I come out the penitentiary, okay? When I come out the penitentiary, no. They nobody kicked me out no Moorish Science Temple. Okay, Moorish Science Temple had busted up into, good gracious, even when I was in Baltimore, before I even left there, okay? Even before I went to the South and we met the Empress and the Maya and all those kind of stuff. No. the truth of the matter is that you got to look at the divinity, the divine guidance, so you can see exactly what happened to me. Because if you're not, now, if there's anybody on this call that has ever seen the book Noble Dwelling, The Exhuming of a Nation, you read any part of it, then you know goodness this is a part of the divine and national movement. Now, you can't read that book and turn around and hate somebody. Because why? You cannot be a Moorish American if you're hating. How you gonna hate me talking about I done did this and I done that and I done, no, and I wrote that ain't a man full of hate that could write a 700-page book of love. Ain't no way in the world you can do that. Okay? Then you back it up with the book of Ali. Not to mention, I don't want, oh, man, please. And we talk about, like, we got the perfected version. They just come out about a week or two ago. The Holy Quran that's now been perfected, because the more they've been messing that up so bad, they're trying to make a secret out of that. There were 70 chapters. The prophet wrote 4 of them. There were 70 chapters all total in the Quran that he wrote. But when it comes to the organization, like the MSTFA, it was a secret book, secret society. So you had 66 chapters over here. The other chapters was called the Adab. So there was a secret thing of the Adab book. That's 44 chapters over there. So you put them with the 66, and then you got the total of 70. You say that's da 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 da. No, that's not the way it worked. Okay, that's why the Bible said this is the divine and national movement. Okay, so when you look at what it is that Noble Dwelly brought to save his people, then you start looking at the book. The book is called The Circle 7. Why? The circle is the perfect symbol, and 7 is the perfect number. What other people do you know could earn the number Circle 7 but the Moorish American as a nation, as a government? Oh, you want to blame that on Pleasant Bay? Pleasant Bay, yeah, he did it. Get out of here. All you got to do is be real with yourself. Tell yourself the truth. Be a Moorish American. Be the truth. Be the message that you bring. Okay? Then you'll see what it is that the great God has ordained for us as a nation of people. Why would he send Noble Dwelly to you in the first place if you wasn't ordained to be a nation?
Islam.
Okay?
And Chairman, on the book, let these people know the hardships, in sending this material out there. Tell them it all didn't come out here on paper. How you had to send that demonstration out here. Let them know that. Because you got authors, scholars quoting your material, Chairman. I'm talking about Europeans mostly. Every time they write about the Moors, your name is quoted, is cited as the authority. Nobody else. Your name is cited as the authority. They appreciate it more than our people do. So Prophet said like this: if the European help him, why not you? So can you let them know what it took to get those copies out here from behind enemy lines?
Man, woo, a lot. Because for one thing, even now, I just had to. The sister just got back from Baltimore, okay, and there's a brother there to help me. The Amazon actually stole the book, okay, and this is maybe about almost 10 years ago now, and it was so bad. They started out with the book was over $2,000 a copy. Amazon had never given me one dime. Okay, they don't know that my book is under international copyright authority. They think because it's not under the United States copyright. They thought it wasn't under copyright. They don't know. Okay, they owe me by the millions. I just haven't jumped any stuff. Okay, but the truth of the matter is, when it come down to how they went about we getting these lessons out there, they don't have a clue. What I had to do when I first put these lessons together, we were doing it in chapters. I was doing it in assignments and lessons. In fact, you talk to my wives, and they'll tell you how much they had to go to the libraries and how much they had to study different levels and different degrees in order to acquire the lessons. Because and that's when the truth hit them and said, "Where we gonna live?" That was their famous word. Where we gonna live? But the thing about it is that these are assignments that was ordained for our people. That's why when you look at it, all you gotta do is say, "Well, look at the book, then look at the nation, and then you look at the divinity, divine and national. Then you see it. It's really not that difficult, but it's very painful because when we had to release the different chapters, and it took a while to get all that stuff together. Believe me, it took. Sometimes when you get a chance, you let the you get mechanized on a call. Sometimes let them give you the history about that book, and but you better have a chair you can recline in. Okay, you know. But yeah, it's a powerful lesson. It's a powerful lesson. Is that the part that you want me to cover, or you want me to go any further deeper into it, or what?
Oh yeah, well, gratitude for that venture. We just wanted to let ones know, what this book came through, in order to get this. I'm gonna show you something right now too, Chairman, as well on the screen. And this is Amazon still making money off the book. Now, years ago when I seen it, here it is right here. You see that, Chairman?
Yeah.
Now, years ago, like you said, it was $2,000 for one
Mhm.
copy. And they actually had right here where it got the author on here now is your name. They had Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And that's how they were trying to get away with it before. But right now, all these people making millions for years selling the
Yeah.
chairman book. He
Uh-huh.
don't sell the book for no $200 a copy. You see? But nevertheless, Amazon done stole somebody's work, and you see it right here. And that's the
Yeah.
smoking gun, though, Chairman.
Yeah.
It's long.
Yeah. It's all on Western Freemasonry.
Yes, sir. And at the same time, you had brothers have the book banned outside of the institutions, while at the same time teaching these teachings in the MST of A, so-called adept lessons.
Hmm.
You see,
Yeah.
so they actually teaching the chapters in the Moorish Holy Quran, teachings of the Book of Ali and all of that, and saying that they are adept lessons.
Right. Yeah.
You see? Mm-mm-mm. And also, Chairman, a lot of people don't know that a lot of things transpired in the past because Moors didn't even know what the grand body was. Can you get them insight on that? How they didn't even know what the Constitution was back in the day, and
Well,
that's what
no,
caused.
in the temple, they thought the grand body was the adept chamber in the Moorish Science Temple. So, and each temple had its own adept chamber, and they had their own little secret society. That's what it boiled down to. But see, when it come down to the government level, when it come down to the nation level, it's a whole nother ball game. Where your adepts at now? That's where you got your whole school of divine. It's in Act One. You got your Grand Sheik, Sister Grand Sheik Chairman. You got your Grand Body of Divine Ministers. See, these are officials of a government. You ain't got out of Act One. You're still there. And you can't get out of Act One without going through law, truth, peace, freedom, and justice.
Long and gratitude for that measure, Chairman. Also, there was some controversy, and I told them ones, I say the chairman them was also in your history. You was part and partial of correcting the headstone of the prophet as well, right, Chairman? Where they had one at the foot instead of
Oh
at the
yeah,
heel. Can you give
yeah,
them a drawing on that since they know so much?
yeah. At the grave site of the prophet, and what happened, they had it all mixed up, and it was so bad that they was In fact, it's in one of the chapters in my book on there with the cornerstone. They was at the the foot of the thing. It should have been on the other side. This before they then rebuilt the thing. Now they got what they call the reincarnated prophet. What is a temple thing that's built up, and you almost walk in there, but you ain't gonna see nothing. But it's in there. They built it like that. But the original grave site of the prophet, they had misplaced the headstone. It was misplaced, and so I had to show them on the left. Wait a minute, this was the original grave site right here, and so I had pictures taken and everything. I got them a book. Yeah, so but they got it right now. They just couldn't get around it. That's the only reason why they had to let it go.
Islam. Islam. Yes, sir. And we just wanted to let it be known, in regards to dealing with this here. And so it's been a lot of things we had to clear up because these are the things, and these things was brought up by a brother by the name of Ross Sadiel out of Atlanta. He been the one that's been putting it, and you know him very well. You wrote a letter to him one time, telling him straighten this yes up, And so, we are not addressing these measures to further conflict. We are addressing these measures to show our people, the truth from the man who went through it. Because it's easy because some of these people talking about these things wasn't on the manifest, but they talking like they authority. You seen the brother in the video, like he sure enough was there. And so we just give honors to you, Chairman. We gonna, like they say, we're gonna give you your flowers while you're on the manifest, and your honors while you're here. And a lot of these people that are on the manifest now that are unconscious, hopefully they can come into consciousness and get this wisdom, because it's an honor to stand upon your shoulders, grand man. And like the brother said, you can believe I'm with the chairman. I'm rocking all the way with him, to the end. You heard, bro. He say he gonna follow him to the end. That's right. Because that's what loyal brothers do. We got to be here to make sure that the young generation get it. Because it ain't about us. It's about the young and not yet born. Right. We try to tell them we ain't here to hold the station. We here to give these youngins and all of our Moorish kin the truth. Bring them out that organizational, Western Freemasonic, Christian, whatever type of mentality it is that our people been buried in. And that's not the attack, and bring them into their government. That you the only one, Chairman, out of all leadership that pursued this. And also now you got groups popping up everywhere. One want to be a republic over here. One want to be, what they call it, a United States government, Moorish American. What in the world? With the Moroccan flag now.
Yeah.
So Islam, and can you give them a drawing also on the prophet's garb? Because nobody started wearing the garb until you demonstrated it, where you were sitting in between, was standing with the lion and the lamb, and you was in the garb, the one that we have in the reflection. Matter of fact, I have it right here. I know you got so many reflections. This is your picture right here. The Moors don't know the chairman was the first person to come back with this garb. Now everybody running around here, with it on. You see it, Chairman?
Yeah.
Can you get them some history on that?
Oh yeah, because I was going to send you one of them.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, what happened? The prophet himself, he had been honored by so many different nations and governments and things, because that's why he traveled to India. He traveled to, it was all over the place. And as a result of this, they in turn honored him. The clothes that he had on was from different honors from different governments, different nations of the world. And in so doing, he took the sacred parts and he brought those garbs back to his people. That's why I put the colors in the picture. And if you notice, his sash, is go from over the shoulder to this shoulder like that. And even when they put the belt on, it's like, it's to separate the higher self from the lower self. Or he had the consciousness of the peacock feathers and things, to show the blossoming of the wisdom from the highest plane of spirit life. and because this is how we acquire ours, you know. And in fact, the turban itself, the headdress, it represents the dominion of freedom, because that's what the rap is about. Okay, and so it was an honor and a blessing to do that, because the prophet. In fact, that's right there. That picture right there is in my almost in my living room, really. So, and there's the picture behind me of original what they used to call him, well, Yehoshua, but they later called him Jesus and things. We found out that was never his name, and but we learned that during the time of slavery. But the big picture of the prophet there beside it, it's almost 5 feet. It's a big picture, but that was ordained. But the attire and the sash and the headdress, all that right there was how it's the Moorish addressed it, because he brought us our own custom, our own attire, and this is the dress, including the shoes that the prophet brought, for his people,
Islam. Yes, sir. That definitely show that journey, of coming back. And we give honors to you for everything that you have brought, Chairman. Okay, we got a brother here in the chat say Islam, Chairman. He said, I heard you was good friends with a brother they call Angel Bay when you was a member of MSTFA. You know who that is, Chairman?
Angel Bay.
Yeah. Some brother saying this in the chat right here. He say his name is Morrow Bay. He said he heard you was good friends with a brother named Angel Bay.
Hmm. It's been some time. I mean, it
Right.
sounds familiar, but I just can't place it right now.
Islam.
Yeah.
Islam. Well, and I know I seen it. I got a picture where you taught where Dent Bay them was in the prison when you was teaching them.
Yeah,
And
Dent Bay, good man.
Graham
I
Bay.
forget what's the boy name up in New Jersey? Ooh, yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah. I got
Charles Tariq, and I mean a lot, but all of them thought they were Masons,
Islam.
just like what they were on the just now. Okay, he still think is Masonic, and the prophet said, he said, look, once you become conscious of being a Moorish American, he said, return. It's in the Quran. Return the church, Western Freemasonry, and Christianity back to the Europeans, because it was developed for them, for their forefathers, for their earthly salvation. What was the greatest salvation the European had on earth? Us as slaves. That's why the prophet said, return the church, Western Freemasonry, and Christianity. Because a lot more is made. Well, he just, why would he say the church and then say Christianity too? So there's got to be a difference, because the church is representing Western Freemasonry. Christianity is the religion. That's why the prophet said, well, as soon as you become conscious, let both of them go. Because both of them belong to the European. Islam.
Islam. That's right. And also in the lights of what you were just speaking, Chairman, here is a picture of that reflection. You can probably tell us what this was. That's you right there. You see that?
Man,
Yeah.
yeah.
And all these people supposed to be leaders now, but I tell them the chairman was teaching them then.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that was, ooh.
That's Dent Bay
Who
right
was
there
that?
behind you.
Huh?
I said that's Dent Bay right there behind you.
Yeah, I know that Bay from, I know
That's
everything in
Graham
Maryland.
Bay. Yeah. So I keep telling
In
them,
fact,
you go ahead,
the
chairman.
Jones Bay and the sister Fia and a few other, yeah, the Morris gods and queens. That's the part of uniform they was wearing during the time of the parade in front of the White House.
Islam. Islam.
That's some of the goddesses right there that was marching in the parade.
Yes, sir. Islamism. And the sister Austin Bay, the Prince
L.
of
Austin
Peace
Bay, yeah.
wife, she sent me some of them before she passed form.
That's the prince right there. Yeah.
Yep, yep. She sent them to me. May she rise in power. but she sent a few of those pictures to me. So, like, you know, you've been on the manifest, Chairman, for the, you know, just the
You see that
duration
other
of it.
boy, Wallace L?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To my up in this reflection here.
Yeah, right there. It's right next, it's right beside the prince.
Yeah, right here in the same
Yeah.
suit. He
You only European that was in the temple.
right. They part of that Moorish Orthodox church, correct?
Yeah, I told you what it was. It even messed up in here in Maryland.
Islam. Yeah, yeah. That's where I seen a lot of reflections of that particular one. Yes, sir. And that's the picture there with you too, Chairman.
Oh
Y'all
yeah,
was
the
at a
El Austin Bay.
yes, sir. Y'all was
Yeah.
at a meet. Looked like you was giving instruction right there.
Oh yeah.
Islam. Goodness gracious. You know, and so man, like I say, we have to honor you for that. And that's why we call it illustrious history. You know what I mean? Because it's well kept. And that's the prince. You know, you see him up there, you know, demonstrating and just masterminds. I know our Grand National Secretary of the State didn't plan on speaking, but I would like to ask her too, just briefly, in conjunction with yourself, Chairman, since we talk about Chairman and Seraphim as well, that she give a portion to the people as well. Islam,
Oh,
if she don't mind. Islam, goddess and queen.
Islam, praise Allah. Islam, Moorish kin, rising, giving praises to our Creator, giving honor to our Prophet Noble Durali, and giving honor to this forum. Gratitude to you, National Assistant Grand Sheikh, Dr. Shedu Amenti, and Moheja Shepsuel, to all of my Moorish kin online. It has indeed, you have definitely gone back in history. And when I met the chairman, he was a teacher and an instructor. And I didn't have a clue at the time who Prophet Noble Drew Ali was, but I knew that when I did hear his teachings, that was the truth because I had indeed been searching. The thing about it is, and coming up through Moorish Science Temple, coming from a history of Christianity in the Baptist demonstration, but I knew that there was something else that I was supposed to be doing with my life. I was searching, but I didn't know what it was. And I had a lot of, in essence, came up here in the West, you know, with the black mindset, striving after that pie in the sky, etc. But I knew that there was something else that I was supposed to be. Kemet, at that time, I looked at it as Egypt had always fascinated me, what have you. The ancient Canaanites that we call the various Indian tribes had always fascinated me because our people tended to be in allegiance with, well, I'm a part of the Cherokee or what have you, you know, not recognizing the fact that these were our children. But because we were cut off from our historical base, we were stripped of our nationality and divine creed, which was in essence our religion. And Islam itself means peace, you know, but because of the indoctrination of Rome and attending Rome's schools, I didn't have a clue about the Moors until I got to college. But anyway, in reference to the history of Dr. Akhenaten, Pert, Heru, Tutankhamun Bey, he was always following Prophet Noble Drew Ali, even if it meant, and this is one of the things that video the brother was speaking about, he didn't get kicked out of anywhere. He said, wait, this is not what the prophet brought. Poof, got to go. And that's that whole pattern. It was a period of unfoldment. And those that had faith enough to be able to see Prophet Noble Drew Ali and Dr. Nefertiti and I often speak about walking on a path that you cannot see. And that was dealing with faith. The thing about it is there was so much hatred, so much murder between the various factions. The prophet spoke about the movement was going to go down so low that you wouldn't even realize that he had been here. And I actually saw documentation in reference to the split between the Maryland portion and the portion in Chicago, where they even took that to the European court. And after it came from Rome's piddling in it, now you had two separate portions. When the prophet was here to bring about unity, but because of king ambition, vanity, ego, etc., it's got to be my way or the highway mentality. And I did not realize the ramifications of Western Freemasonry. I went through it, but when I was in Chicago, because we used to go every year to Chicago for the convention under R. Lovell, things of that nature. But when they wanted the sisters to be separate from the brothers, they wanted the sisters not to wear their Islamic garb or their Moorish garb. They wanted us to wear a nurse's uniform at the kneecap. And that's not dealing with modesty when it comes down to a Moorish sister. And then they wanted to put a brother at the door. Then even though I didn't know about masonry and the ramifications at the time, it just didn't set right with me. So I bucked. I'm not going to that meeting because I can't wear what I know is Islamic, what is Moorish. We had to move in 2s and 3s because of in Chicago, they had the 5%ers, etc. That if you weren't within a certain clique, or what temple are you functioning under? That was the famous question at that time in the 80s, early 90s. If you weren't with that particular clique or group, then in essence, you were lower than a whale's turd, something to be hated. I can recall going into institutions to teach our brothers and our sisters, and you had Moors on such a hateful level following the Arabized demonstration that they didn't even want a sister to be anywhere around them. There was so much hatred for that, and this is not what our prophet brought to us. He didn't bring separatism, anything like that. As a family, it was a blessing that we moved constantly because in that was security. There were so many death threats against not only the chairman, but his family, even when it came down to that so-called Lorton case. And I was there because the chairman was investigating how is it that a leader of the MST of A and an inmate in an institution can have information coming from the adept chamber. So he got authorization from the so-called grand body at that time, went down to Lorton to investigate. But because, again, you had a Western Freemason, he was a police officer. That in itself lets you know that he was into Western Freemasonry. But again, I was naive. All this mess was over my head. But I knew instinctively and ethereally right from wrong, hatred, and divine love. So in essence, this man was set up. I'm sitting here looking at the judge, and they used the FBI that had money, had the drugs. And when the FBI recognized, the agents recognized that they were the pawns in this whole demonstration, there was fear in their eyes because they did not know how this man was going to respond. If he was going to, in essence, maintain that demonstration, or in essence, set a precedent-setting case so that the rest of the Moors would be free. A lot of the things that we went through as a family, we were looking at it from the universal aspect of a precedent-setting case. We were selected by the great God Allah to be able to go through these various degrees, see the various illusions that Rome was casting forth. But it wasn't about us per se, and this is what I speak about in reference to sacrifice, is whatever Allah wants us to go through, even though it was very hard at the time, the thing about it is we're about our people being free, no matter what. So I can recall Dr. Nefertiti when they thought that, okay, we got the chairman out the way for at least 5 months, and then they tried to put him in the same institution as the snitch in the Bass Bay so that they could take him out. Ain't nobody crazy, so we had to shift him to various jurisdictions for security, okay? And then they wanted to come at the sisters always want to come at the sisters when the brothers are not around. So we had to, you talking about fasting, dealing with wheatgrass, we could actually see shadows, come in a human form, but you could see the shadow or the weasel or whatever kind of intent that they were demonstrating at the time. Because I can remember Dr. Nefertiti stating, well, if you want to come up in here, bring your body bags with you. We called to the consulates, they're in DC, Embassy Row. Dr. Nefertiti called the consulates, hey, I don't want to be a so-called citizen of these United States Act. And the man said, well, you have to go outside of the United States in order to come back in, or some old kind of foolishness. They had to do a hesitate, get off the line, check with superiors or what have you. But she said, I don't have any paperwork. I don't have nothing stating that I am a citizen. So we were, in essence, fighting the entire way. That's why we always used to ask the question when the chairman would send chapters through the mail. It had to be in letter form, a page or two here, there. And then ethereally, you had to, if you had any questions, because a lot of times communication was cut off, you didn't have any choice but to communicate on the ethereal level to see, okay, how did he want this put into the chapter? And then we'd read the chapter, go over it, and we like, where are we going to live? Because at the time we were in, they were taking Moors out, and you had to have faith that Allah had you no matter what. So it was a period of, I can recall when we shifted to Louisiana. That's how we met the Empress. And again, I had gone down there on a mission before Dr. Nefertiti and the children with a mufti through bus. And Empress told us, yeah, because I was into banking, as an underwriter. Yeah, all of this land is Washita land, and you could be the president of the bank. It wasn't so much for, titles or positions or anything like that. It was about, we've got our own land, because we were searching. We went to Pennsylvania, we went to DC, we slept in a car at night to try to get to a brother in New York for documents or what have you, paying $300 and $400, had to get photos, etc. And then come to find out the mess was illusion. Same when we went to Washita. There was no land. There was no, I own this city, and things of that nature. So that was school of hard knocks. But at no time did we let go of our prophet or our creator. Now, I had so much anger in me at the time, I didn't even feel worthy enough to touch the Quran because my spirit was not right, and this is when the chairman told us to go into the lessons of Siddha Yoga. And this is what helped me to be able to come out of that negative mindset, because when you talk about constant bombardment by Rome, kicking in the doors, looking at rifle in the face, being threatened, and all of the times it would be when the muftis would leave, and then they would try to take the sisters out, okay, or try to instill fear. That's why I said that there was no difference between the 1800s and the 1900s. The spirit of it was the same. And we traveled as if there was an underground railroad in the 1900s because of the fact, and there were brothers that would tell us, don't go out there because we have to study law, because now they were trying to come at us legally. So the brothers, Masons, at the time, well, sisters, you don't want to go too far out in the water because you might drown. And essence saying, don't stand, for the prophet. Don't stand for Allah or Moorish science or what have you. Just do what Rome tells you to do. Nay. Because again, it was the history of what we stood for, knowing that our prophet was secure. And this is why when we had a previous class, I know in reference to the science of the Moors, because they've even threatened us with, we're going to lock you up. And I said, I knew it. And I had Nefertiti standing behind me. They had the Baal of shaking chains and things of that nature. Then there was a spirit that just came over me. So be it. That was the prophet. The spirit of the prophet was in the courtrooms and things of that nature. So it was a horrendous thing to see your husband taken away for 60 months. But the thing about it is the work never stopped. The teaching never stopped. So it was a learning lesson for us. And a lot of the things that we did to enlighten our people at that time, whether it be the drill team, whether it be teaching in the institutions and things of that nature, they tried to put the light out. Anytime we go in an institution and you have the Moorish Science Temple come behind you to try to erase the light, all right, or try to create discord or Ethiopian conditions, something wasn't right with that picture. Or you as Lovell wanted to say, well, the brothers, no, they don't need to wear any headdress in the institutions. That was like pulling at my heart, because these are still our people. So there were a lot of negative, hateful, demonic degrees, because the prophet spoke about he's going to let the negative spirits incarnate. Those that were with me 2,000 years ago are with me then. So I'm going to, that was just a brief demonstration, but it did nothing but give us added strength, added strength. And so there's nothing that no one can tell me about the glory of Allah and my prophet, because he has saved my life and my mindset too many times over. So I see the not only the spirit of our prophet in each and every one of our Moorish kin on a universal level. And see, when you are able to receive revelations from Allah, then all is well. So it's nothing that they can do to this form, because spirit man can't die. So gratitude more for, calling me forth. Much peace and love to all my Moorish kin.
Islam, gratitude, goddess and queen. Now that's what you talk about, Chairman, when you say Mother Ma'at wrappeth her wings around the nation. Goodness gracious. But Chairman, we give honors to you, grand man. I know it's getting up in the hours, but I want you to give your, just give the Moors the direction as to where we should be going, in regards to dealing with government, why it's necessary that we be free. Because in the subject title, along with this illustrious history of yours, we also put it out there, in dealing with what we call from the age of preparation unto the age of fulfillment. So can you give us that in the light of unfoldment, and we'll take it out from there, grand man. This is grand. We got to do it again. We can't tell all this history in a few hours. It's long.
Well, the master word here is unity. The Moorish Americans have got to come together, and in fulfilling the prophecy that Noble Drew Ali has ordained us to be, we've got to unite. In other words, get rid of this temple mentality, this organization mentality. Let it go. If you're a Moorish American national, then you're a citizen of your own government. There's nothing wrong with if you want to go. We got conference calls 7 days a week. Mine don't always on a Monday anyway, but you got Saturday. But the thing about it is, the door is open. Come together. Even if you think you're a Moorish Science Temple, come on up in here. Come on back home, so you can become a Moorish consulate, an embassy of the Moorish American government. You can become an affiliate become a divine minister, a real divine minister, a real official of your government according to act of your divine constitution. It don't take long to tell the truth, but you keep on acting crazy, then what you're going to end up with. But the prophet said that this right here is a divine and national movement. So what I'm concerned about is that if the Moors don't come together, the worst is yet to come. But the prophet already said what was going to happen then. He already said what was going to happen. Who was going to do it, and who was going to do it to who. You don't want to see that. You don't want to see that. This whole Trump administration, they're trying to get back in there to close that door finally. Wake up, Moors. It ain't gonna happen like that. You don't want to see that. Them concentration camps, them disposable coffins and things. That's the nationwide. The railroad track cars, chattel cars with nothing but shackles and chains in it. Come on, wake up. It's time to come to the realization you got one chance to live. You got one chance to save yourself. Who else is going to save a Moorish America but Moorish America? If you don't save yourself, who's going to do it for you? I know what it's like to run around understanding somebody else's gun in your hand. Okay? Nah, you don't want to see that. The thing about it is that it's time now for us to come together, unify. You know, whoever you know, if they're Moorish American National, whether they woke up or not, whether they think they're Negro or not, let the door, look, tell them come on home to the government. The only government which they can live. So all that thing about you got to have identification cards. You got to have. Ain't nobody selling you no ID. You was born in Moorish America. What it look like selling you an ID card? This somebody out to making money off of you because you're ignorant. Okay, the cards that they're selling you, they can't support it because of why? Because they're not a government. They're just getting money off of you. I know people all over the country doing this. But the thing about it is that there's ain't but one Moorish American government. And if you want to become a consulate, you want to become an embassy, you want to become a part and parcel of this said government, then come on home. Islam. That's all I got to say. I'm ready.
Islam and gratitude, Chairman. And if you want to contact the Moorish American government, contact, the government, those who may be in the MST of A, NOI, it don't make no difference what organization you're a part of. Bring your talents to your government, establish your consulate, and be leaders of a nation because you ain't living under other. So that being said, at this particular time, we're going to bring this broadcast to a closure, but we give honors to our Grand National Chairman for coming on the manifest, our Sheikh Islam Chairman. I don't know what
one last thing. Can we let them know that they can also contact us on the website?
Yes, sir. Islam. And
It's got to be very specific, though. www.moorishamericangovernment.land.
Islam.
LAND. Okay.
And
Not .org, not .com, but www.moorishamericangovernment.land. And when you hit that, then the Grand National Seal and the Moorish flag, everything there they go right there. Okay. You see the Grand National Seal, Grand National Emblem, and then the Moorish American government. That's the website. And underneath the seal, you see the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Put your mouse on the word freedom. And that way, when you do that, the national census and registration is going to pop up. And that's where you register. As the prophet said, you proclaim your nationality before the government in which you live. That's where you proclaim the census registration right there. That's how you do it. Okay? Go to the word freedom, principle of freedom, and click on the census registration. And that way you can proclaim your nationality before the Moorish American government. And it also let you know about the Seven Seals publication, where you can order your Qurans, your Moorish literatures, and everything. Okay? Islam. Thank you, Mo. Appreciate that.
Gratitude, Chairman. And we still under the Seven Seal publication is under construction, but it definitely will be up and running very soon. And we give
Islam. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Islam. We want to see you again, Chairman. Just let us know when you're
All
ready.
right. We're here for you. Just call on me. We're here for you 24/7. Did I say 25? Okay.
25. Sheik fell off, but nevertheless, I know Madison probably got the line of little 17.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, we got to go anyway. We love you, man. Thank you.
Islam. We love you, Chairman. Get you some rest. Peace and love.
Peace and love.
Islam. All right. All right. We give honors to our Grand National Chairman for everything that he demonstrated, and we just give honors to all of our people out there. And you get a chance, go back through this broadcast because there was a lot of jewels up in here. We just wanted the chairman to come up here and bring about some clarity. And to all of you who are out here, we love you. Regardless of what group you come from, what you come up under, don't allow one to tell you that we're in opposition to you. We are in opposition to what divides our people. And it's not the name of what you belong to that divide our people. It's the agent and the agent provocateur. It's that Judas, that is trying to infiltrate all of our movements. So we give honors to you people and we love you wherever you come from. And at this time, we're going to close out and we got more to bring forth. And if you are here, you out there, you NOI, you Hebrew, whatever, 5%, and you want to come to this show, just email me at egyptianadept@gmail.com and we can come on here, have a discussion, because this is a discussion where we building. We ain't here to debate. We ain't here to destroy. We ain't here to tear down. We here to bring our people together. You don't have to believe as me to love me. I don't have to believe as you to love you. You know what I'm saying? But the love is universal. So let us bridge the gap. Peace, love, and law at all costs. Islamism, may the ancestors and the spirit of the ancestors guide us forward as we move by night and by day. Moorish movement, divine movement, everlasting movement. Islamism. Peace.